I knew my couple. It's kind of how I picked them. 10 to 12 years ago is when they became friends with my older siblings. They lived in the same neighborhood, and so my sister knew about their situation with the adoption, and they've been friends ever since. The adopted dad plays basketball with my brother and brother-in-law all the time, and at the time, going in 9th grade to sophomore year, we didn't know this at the time, but I was gonna play basketball for the high school, so he was giving me like coaching advice and helping me. And then when it came time to place, I was like, I want them to be and everything. And the adopted dad was like, I was mean to her on the court. Are they gonna pick me?
We actually paid him to work with her. Her own father is a great basketball player, but he was so busy at the time he hadn't had a chance to work with her like he'd worked with the other kids, and so we actually paid this man to give her lessons. And
but yeah, it came down to the whole, I was mean to her. Like he told us later, I was mean to her. Are they really gonna want me to adopt their child? And but it's worked out great. Like they're pretty much like family. Obviously, like my mom has said, I look up to them like brother and sister, and he's really protective over me.
Very protective.
More than my own brothers, actually. But we have a great relationship, and Kate can see it. Like, she knows that and they teach him young. Like, their oldest is soon to be 6, and he knows he was in Ashley's belly, but Amanda's his mom. And like, he'll come up to you and tell you. They've taught him young.
Very open with their little kids, and the kids know exactly what a birth mother is and who their real parents are. Yeah. They call them their real parents.
So did you guys like make a plan, like when you were still pregnant, of what the openness would be like afterwards?
I did. Like when we were at the meet and greet, like I told him, like, I would care for like monthly visits, birthdays, holidays, pictures like daily when I need it. And Jared looked at me and he's like, heck no, you can see this child whenever you please. We will have you over all the time. And at first in my head, I'm like, that might be too much. So how did you develop your relationship?
Well, during the pregnancy, I got their phone numbers and met their 2 adoptive girls, and I asked the adoptive mom, come to the doctor's appointments with me. And she had never even seen an ultrasound picture. Her sisters-in-law wouldn't even show her that because she couldn't have kids, and so she'd never even seen that. And she's like, are you sure you want me to? She felt like she was like imposing. I'm like, no. And I kind of told my parents, if I'm more open now, hopefully she'll be more open after, the birth of the child. And she came to as many of the appointments as she could. And we had dinner with our families a few times. And then when we talked about openness, all I knew of open adoption was, my friend, who actually was my age, that was adopted, all she knew about her birth mom was that she was 16 when she had her and that she was really tall. And I'm like, oh, I hope my birth daughter can know more about me. And so all I figured was, oh, maybe I'll see her once a year on her birthday and get a couple pictures. And so I asked them, is this how it would look? And they're like, no, it will be so much more open. And they told us about their 2 adoptive daughters that, we see them at least on birthdays, on, Christmas and other holidays, and just randomly, and make just stop by visits. And I'm like, oh, okay. And, that sounds better. And they said, we expect you to be there at all of her birthdays, at her wedding. And I'm like, her wedding? Like 20 years down the road. And I'm like, okay, this sounds really good to me, that just all this openness. And so we made a plan we just made a very detailed plan because I wanted to know, you know, that this would hopefully happen. And so weekly for the first 8 weeks that I would go up there and visit them and be able to see her. And then they would send pictures weekly. And that's what we did. And then pretty much after that, we just said, okay, maybe monthly, but we'll just communicate about it. If they said, if you need to see her more, then just tell us. If we're too much and it's too hard on you, then just tell us. But that was kind of our plan, and that's how it went.
So for me, it was a situation where I met them when they first came to the office, and then we kind of asked for their phone numbers. Maybe we weren't supposed to, but we did anyway. We got to communicate with them. I always told them, I says, you know, if it's safe and healthy, we should pursue this and continue developing a relationship. Starty invited them down to have, was it Christmas? When it was just a process where it was kept open to begin with, like she said. We developed friendship with them way before Starty's daughter was born. So.
Yeah. They, one thing that when I went up there to visit them, you know, while I was still pregnant, one of the other girls' birth moms was there, and they planned this. We were seeing one of the birth daughters, or one of their daughters' dance recitals. And so one of the other birth moms was there, and I was able to talk to her, and they just said, yeah, bring up your pajamas and sleep over. And so I ended up staying over, which I'm like, my parents really...
Before she was even born.
Yeah,
right?
Before she was even born. And it was kind of funny because I thought, my parents really never let me have sleepovers. And I called them, I'm like, can I, I'm like 21. Can I sleep over here tonight?
So the friendship was developed so strong before the placement, before the open adoption, that it's not just about the birth daughter, it's about the family. I go to see the family and the birth daughter. It's not the birth daughter and the family. So,
and don't you have a sense of because the friendship started first and the openness started there, that maybe that's why open adoption works so well. You know these people. You know these people before the baby's even born. You know who they are. You know what they are. You know how they'll treat a child.
Part of that too, though, is you start to know who they are and what they are, and you can change your mind. So it's important to find out about them and if that's the right thing. Because if you want to change your mind, you can still change your mind.